We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Beautiful. Good morning. Thanks, Saina, and happy day of fathers and mothers and all the reparenting that we're doing. I'm tuning in from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, out here in the Atlantic Ocean. And just another equal in our common purpose. Let's get started on that. Our purpose is that we are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and rest in its embrace. And along with our purpose, we have 5 core values, and each week for the homily, we tune in. At least my process is tuning in and navigating. Which core value aligns with my I don't know of my topic, and eventually, core value number 1 came through, which is we trust everyone is led by unique inner guidance to one experience called awakening, which is realization of one true self. We live this value by supporting one another on different paths of awakening. Thank you, Rusted Root. Thank you all for having ears in your hearts. It made me feel lighter. I love that song. And I love spiritual practices, and I love awakening together, and love is my theme this morning. I had this great memory of a yoga school in India, and the language barrier of English and any other language is just delightful to my ears and my heart when I hear it, because the importance of the words that are being said almost just penetrate a little bit different. So my yoga teacher, he said, love the life and the life love you, and I just heard it with a million ears, and part of my journey. And that's the topic today. And I waited for it to blossom and give me more. What do you want me to do with this one line now, God? And it's evolved since, and here we are today. So my prayer is to open up this space for the holy encounter that we're asking Holy Spirit and all of our devotion and our time put into being a fellowship to let us hear and learn what is to be said in this next hour. Holy Spirit, take all my thoughts, my words, my senses, take the whole universe that you made in this one body, and do what you will with it. I know it's limited, but boy, can it be spectacular. I'm grateful to share this space with all of you today, bringing to the table who I am, like whatever that is. By self-forgetting, I remain, and I look forward to the message today. So, amen. So love life, and then life will love you. And following that is our reading by Audrey. And Audrey was sent by God to remind me that I needed a reader. It was amazing. I handed in my topic. I handed in the brief synopsis that could cover whatever I came up with in the 4-day period. And then beautiful Audrey writes me an email and says, "Hey, Meg, just wondering if you had a Sunday reader or something like that." And I said, "No, but it's you. That's great." And I like to wear, life like a loose garment like that as much as possible, because I know how to take everything really seriously as my human superpower. And these practices teach me otherwise, and to hold them in a space that allows it all. So This reading is pretty metaphysical, maybe. I don't know. It all sounds like the rest of the readings to me, to be honest with you. So this is from The Law of One, channeled by a group of meditators who heard some stuff from a higher plane. So Audrey, the mic is all yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Reverend Meg. Welcome, everybody. Law of One, channeling session 50. Questioner. Can you expand on the concept, which is that it is necessary for an entity during incarnation in the physical as we know it to become polarized or interact properly with other entities, and why this isn't possible in between incarnations when the entity is aware of what he wants to do? Why must he come into an incarnation and lose conscious memory of what he wants to do and then act in a way in which he hopes to act? And we're going to read that question again. Here we go. Can you expand on the concept, which is that it is necessary for an entity during incarnation in the physical as we know it to become polarized or interact properly with other entities, and why this isn't possible in between incarnations when the entity is aware of what he wants to do? Why must he come into an incarnation and lose conscious memory of what he wants to do and then act in a way in which he hopes to act? Ra. I am Ra. Let us give the example of the man who sees all the poker hands. He then knows the game. It is but child's play to gamble, for it is no risk. The other hands are known. The possibilities are known, and the hand will be played correctly, but with no interest. In time, space, and in the true color green density, the hands of all are open to the eye. The thoughts, the feelings, the troubles, all these may be seen. There is no deception and no desire for deception. Thus much may be accomplished in harmony, but the mind, body, spirit gains little polarity from this interaction. Let us re-examine this metaphor and multiply it into the longest poker game you can imagine. A lifetime. The cards are love, dislike, limitation, unhappiness, pleasure, etc. They are all dealt and redealt continuously. You may during this incarnation begin, and we stress begin, to know your cards, your own cards. You may begin to find the love within you. You may begin to balance your pleasure, your limitations, etc. However, your only indication of other selves' cards is to look into the eyes. You cannot remember your hand, their hands, perhaps even the rules of this game. This game can only be won by those who lose their cards in the melting influence of love. Can only be won by those who lay their pleasures, their limitations, they're all upon the table, face up and say inwardly, all of you players, each other's self, whatever your hand, I love you. This is the game, to know, to accept, to forgive, to balance, and to open the self in love. This cannot be done without the forgetting. for it would carry no weight in the life of the mind, body, spirit, beingness totality. From the standpoint of each individual within the illusion of mortality and space and time, it simply seems impossible that one will ever know enough. And one comes to the conclusion that one does not know much at all. And when one comes to this realization, it is a great gift, because the great mistakes are made by those who think they know exactly what to do. And there is great healing in the awareness that not only do you not know, but that you are not supposed to know. And you are not here to know the right thing, but rather you are here to experience and to learn and to share the essence of yourself with the planet that you came to love and serve. And this is not that which is spoken. This is not that which begins with working with another entity. This is that which begins with breathing in and breathing out. Here is your vocation in the living, in being, in the breathing, in being where you are with your senses alert and your heart open, paying attention to that moment that is the only such moment that you shall ever have. That you ever shall have. You cannot truly make a mistake. For whatever road upon which you turn, you shall meet your catalyst again and again until you recognize it, love it, forgive it, and move beyond it. You are queens and kings, rulers of yourselves, all of you royal. Remember who you are. Remember your birthright, and remember that you live in a spiritual democracy where each entity is precisely mathematically equal. The differences within the illusion come from your use of will through faith. The differences within the illusion come from your use of will through faith. Although it may seem that the creator that helped mold the nature of your illusion is either mischievous or mean or possessed or a poor sense of humor, the truth seems to be that the creator wished that each spirit, each spark of self, once radiated out from the creator, would have the experience of falling into the chasm of the unknown with no parachute except faith. This is the point the spirit of love wishes each of its sparks to attain. That point where it is realized that faith is a way that lives upon itself without any scientific support. The creator hungers for each entity to turn towards it, to be drawn to the great original thought of love that in spite of every limitation and loss and difficulty, each heart remained faithful and each entity's own free will to cleave it unto creative love itself and to stand firm in a serene knowing that despite all appearances, things are as they should be. Thank you.
Thanks, Audrey. Woo-wee. Amen. Thanks for that reading. God, whoever sent you, whoever sent this, all these the beautiful materials. Even listening to Mary Reed's description this morning, I had a similar deal with God upon my request of, hey, I think I'm out of here, God, unless you got something better. And that was my cry for help to the all benevolent thought of God, some 9-10 years ago. And I've been in awakening together for seven of them, and watching the journey unfold, unravel, letting go of the stuff that's my favorite illusions. Like, these spiritual practices are part of my favorite illusions, and that is one of my things that I'm, these are so exciting, these things, these experiences of glimmers into the, into the totality of the abyss where you're everything and nothing, to make that become more ordinary and ordinary and ordinary. It's an unraveling that I'm going through as well. So yeah, let's go into this reading. It reminded me right away of, like, I just wanted to dedicate this time and space and this hour of creating, like, we're creating these, like, new habit patterns that will dissolve, like the thorn that's going to remove the thorn, and then they dissolve. And, like, there's nothing I want more right now than to talk about the power of unconditional love. And I'm assuming that that's what y'all needed to hear too, without you knowing that you needed to hear it. So anyway, my mind works like this now, instead of this sabotaging, like, fear-based pattern, loopy oriented, how am I going to manipulate these outside circumstances so I can feel safe because I'm completely unworthy and I forgot my function, right? So it's done its work on me. I'm such a I'm a lover of these practices. So it totally reminded me of Michael Langford's Loving All method as soon as I stumbled upon this work, and brought it back to, like, my head really loves to analyze what love looks like. It has a condition for all things. And this is taking me to, like, this amazing superpower that teaches me upon my request at every now moment how absolutely totally provided it is if I go to that one thought. And then I went right into the lessons too. Lesson 64, like, I need Holy Spirit to shift me from this physical perception of the body's eyes to a spiritual perception. And just from, like, a personal life point of view, like, there's a lot of life going on, but I spend so much of this 24-hour period forgetting that there's a 24-hour period and that there is a task-oriented world. I watch it go from physical being like the alarm bell to, like, whoa, I'm not really here. What day is it? I honor forgetting. It's okay to not know, and wash, rinse, repeat. And the more I'm hanging out around these rooms and listening to all of you, it's like this spiritual fellowship is like, I love that we're just walking each other home in the vulnerability of having these conversations, to be vigorously honest with one another. The more I have gotten excited to memorize spiritual things, the more I want to implode and just die all over again. Like, it's not about that. And even though I have, like, the ego for me has wanted the intelligence to rule this path. Like, even though conceptually it's not true, it's like it wants it really wants to take credit. And I just appreciate each and every one of you for sharing your journey in this room for this, almost a decade. It's like, and we're celebrating 10 years this year. Exactly. So this is what I do. I do a reading, and then I do a homily, and I talk, and then I never get into the reading. So here we go. I'm doing it. So I wanted to pick apart line from line, like, this question. So the question goes in, can you expand on the concept that it's necessary that during this incarnation, we set ourselves up to be in this polarity situation where forgetting is going to happen, and I'm going to be really upset about it every time it happens, even though it's going to teach me how to evolve. Like, that seems to be the thing. And then, like, and in my spiritual world, I mean, I don't talk to a lot of people about this private devotional life because it's so freaking far out there sometimes. I mean, I am in a meditation tuning into the possibility of, you know, who's watching God. And if I'm the creator of my universe, then I get to tune into whatever the heck I want. Like, I'm giving myself ultimate permission to be a seer of, well, what if I knew that the script was already written and I set it all up? Because every time faith reveals, this is for you, don't you remember? I go, yeah, I kind of do. You know, so, you know, I light up in these moments, getting a glimpse of, it's an honor to have a glimpse into this situation that I can't see all of it. And it would be incredibly detrimental if I knew all of it. That would be horrible. That would be, you know, I was even thinking in my world of polarities where, you know, I'm like, oh, peaks and valleys, here we go. I can't wait to see what the next disturbance is going to show me, so I'll be grateful for it later. You know, like, my mind is trying to collapse time. So even in my life, I have like totally new non-linear, like, it's all happening in a linear fashion, but I know it's being coordinated divinely at this point, because there's some stuff that I'm not supposed to know about in a linear sense, because if I knew about it, then I wouldn't have some polarity right now to teach me about who I would be later. And this reading where it's saying, like, if you had all of the faces and all of the cards and you knew everything, then what would be the point of pulling these things out of your emotional guidance system to bring into awareness, you know, that you are you in this moment, and forgetting was important. Forgetting's not real, but it's important. And so this longest poker game. So yeah, I'm going through life in my own poker game where in a matter of like 6 months, it's like moving out of house, sold smaller boat, bought bigger boat, moving on to bigger boat, moving out of house, renting house, can't do this before that. And knowing that it's all going to happen and work, and that I had no plan for any of this to happen. Like, I did not know God was making me into a sailor. I thought God was going to have me in some special loincloth in a monastery somewhere over in another country because I fell in love with spirituality, didn't you know? And then I come back and I say, God, I want to be alone. That's how I'm going to be completely devoted on this spiritual path. And, you know, I had this beautiful image of what I thought the highest good for me would be, right? And I come back to the country and I get handed this person to be with. And I'm like, I think you got it wrong, God. I'm supposed to be learning this. And God's like, well, yes, you will learn it with this. And, you know, what a gift to just be handed what I need and to eventually want what I need and to let go of the way that it looks. Like, my fourth principle of God world is shattering before I know it. I get glimpses into third and second, and then I'm not so scared about the fourth, right? It's like, until I get glimpses into the 0, 1, and 2, and 3, 4 is all I got. So, you know, this is, you know, when I get handed my cards without spiritual practices, this is all about, you know, attacking you and me winning. And until then, I know no other way. That's why my deal with God, 10 years ago, like, dear God, if fourth principle of God is the only thing that is going on here, I definitely want out. This is terrible. And God answered. So anyway, let's go back into the reading a little bit. This, where did my notes go? So I'm going to go back into, so it also said in space-time and the true color green density. I don't really know what any, like, all of this, take what you need, leave the rest, right? All hands are open to the eye. So like, we can sit here in this spiritual hour and go, I have no desire for deception. I have no desire to deceive. I believe in harmony. I am one with you. And then I find an opportunity to judge the person not being perfect for doing that task. And the paradox of the situation with feelings and having the body sensations come up and say, here's an opportunity to attack yourself because you got it wrong again, you idiot, is I have, for me in my own little practice, because it seems like such a good idea to attack myself, is that I didn't know that love was bigger than my emotion of love, right? And love, wait, I had an epiphany this morning about this, so I'm actually going to find the little thing that I jotted down. That the magic ingredient of allowing these things to come up is like, so I have a feeling, and all of it. All right, yeah, I'll give you an example. I have fear-based feelings come up several times a year, maybe now in the last few years. It's like becoming less and less, where like the veil of fear is blocking that remembering completely. And I believe fear is real, right? So finally, I think in this practice where it penetrated something where I was like, oh, that's a new feeling for love's power. So I have the feeling, I have a reaction, and then I'm like, shoot, I shouldn't be reacting. It's going that way. Bring it back. Come on, I can do it. And instead of, I'm trying to change something to make a feeling go away, so I will be healed in the future where those things don't show up. Let's see if I can say that again. So, but, I learned this practice. I'm allowing and I'm accepting. And then I allow and I accept. And my head, I caught my head in my inquiry going, okay, so I have allowed this in this moment. So now that you've allowed it, that means that you will be better in the future for seeing it now, and it will not show up because you will be healed later. And I found my time maker in my inquiry machine for how I still blocked allowance from actually really allowing. I was like, oh, I want my healing to actually control the future. I want my allowing and acceptance to control a better version of me in the future. And that was like a really nice new allowance of my own personal, like, loving all method. And yeah, it was this, I had embarrassment and shame for not being a better non-reactor. And then I became a reactor to being ashamed that I was ashamed and react. Do you see the loop? And then I was then I was like even more embarrassed that I let it go longer. And then I was like, oh wow, look how small love is now. look how big you are. And yeah, that was the note I had with love this morning. You know, it's releasing a lot of outdated beliefs and conditionings on what I was taught about appropriate ways of loving. And I think, you know, part of this process and having fellowship along the way is actually talking out loud about the actual separation that is coming from being more connected and not letting that be in a way. And what I mean by that is, what do I mean by that? I mean by making like spiritual, so I mean by making spiritual practice like a special thing that is done outside from like people, right? So like here I am again being like Harry Potter in the magic school, and then there's muggles out there who can't see the magic work being done. And the point is to bring the function into all of it. All right, let me find my track again. It's okay to pause. So the creator in this reading, it says, although it may seem that the creator that helped mold the nature of your illusion is either mischievous or mean or possessed or has a poor sense of humor, the truth seems to be that the creator wished that each spirit, each spark of self, once radiated out from the creator, would have the experience of falling into the chasm of the unknown with no parachute except faith. And I think that's such an exceptional gift once I really back up from this thought. Like, from this perspective, the creator isn't cruel, but wished for every soul to experience the absolute unknown, completely guided by faith. Because it's the only thing that's going to provide the totality of like ultimate growth. Like, could you imagine? Now, I know help comes from all angles, but could you imagine if you're like, I have surrendered completely. I have faith. I know that all of the pieces are going to set up. I don't believe in my circumstances. God, I look forward to how you're going to help me. And then like imagine getting like a cheat sheet slipped under the door and you can't unsee what you just learned. You know, like, you know, truly I'd be upset, but my ego would want that. Right? Like I'm a shortcut Sally. But you know, after watching and having so much evidence of faith just answering over and over and over again, and you know that my empty shell is going to provide me with this abundance from not the material world, you know, there's a humility. Like, I don't know what the person's gonna look like or behave like, because you know, I've still got it all. I don't even know how to explain it anymore. Like, there's still so much going on, but there's a lightness of being. Oh yeah, my pal in my 12-step program, he goes, you know, I'm one sick and crazy individual, but you know what? I'm super comfortable having a sick mind today because my God knows what to do with it. And I just love that permission slip. So each entity's own free will cleave unto the creative love itself, and to stand firm in a serene knowing that despite all appearances, things are as they should be. And the creator, according to Ra, desires each soul to turn toward the original thought of love, remaining faithful regardless of life's challenges. And I, from that point, I went to lesson 64 in the course, and I had said that earlier, that my function is ever present in my mind. I cannot be without it, for it was given me by God. And my function is to forgive. It must start with me. I make the world I see. This is the world I am to save. I give meaning to all that I see. that I often think are real. When I am thinking separate thoughts, I am in the world of insanity. In my insanity, I attack myself mercilessly for imagined faults and slights, for imagined unworthiness and harms, for imagining myself human with human imperfections. So part of my little world as of late is I had just this morning, I was like, oh my God, you're giving me this moment to be completely in the body thing that I would least want while preparing for a talk. It couldn't have become any more beautifully polar. So as I'm like, hey, witnesser, you better show up here because Megan's about to take over. You know, can we back up? Can we back up? I've got I've got all of the happenings going on in the house of moving. There's a yoga class going on downstairs right before I start this, and I have some friends visiting from Sweden and from Stockholm, and then like they brought their friend over to stay also, and then for some reason our house has become like a Grand Central Station where people don't text or call or anything before they come over. They just knock on the door and come over and yell real loud in the house. And it's beautiful, and it's so not my personality, which is also amazing because I'm surviving it all. But it was amazing. Of course, it had to get louder and louder and louder the 15 minutes before I'm going to log on. So I'm like, you know, I thought this was about calm, meditative, you know, and there I go again, deciding the way something should look because this future version of me will show up better. Are these things in order? So, you know, it's funny because I sit here going like, I'm in such a wanderlust of metaphysical thoughts all the time. Yet I have this lightness of being with still human conditions, just gracing my day. You know, why don't you get a little mad at your boyfriend right now? Because he can slam every door at the perfect amount of time. And, you know, it's just life. And, you know, it's just life. And I almost last week took the, after Billy did a sermon, and then during the fellowship or something, I think it was John had said, like, you know, I'm so grateful for the ability that we're just talking about like life and going through the mundane and then applying the spiritual principles to this. And then somebody had mentioned Jack Kornfield's title. Come on, God, you've got the title. First, after the ecstasy, then the laundry. Or after awakening, then do the bills or something. So I'm here to just be an example of another entity going through the spiritual principles that we're guided towards, and that I'm living this weirdly wild, exceptional life because of them, but without the because, cause and effect, you know. It's given me, you know, now I feel like I'm putting a plug in for just this fellowship, which I guess is appropriate because, you know, there was this fellow the other day. I was just in this really allowance kind of state where like I was like 2 inches off the ground kind of day, right? You know, nothing can bother me. Cut me off in traffic 100 times, flip me the bird, yell at me, I don't care. Everything can bounce off me, right? And this fella, I'm playing tennis a lot these days, and I'm learning the art of war and letting winning and losing just become everything. Like, let it be all the same. And so this fella, he's given me like 5 different headlines. Did you hear that this happened? Did you hear that? Well, can you believe? Can you? And I'm going, shh, I'm running out of I don't knows. Like, I'm running out of ways to go, you know? And eventually I was like, oh my God, he's never going to want to talk to me again because I've got nothing to talk about, right? Like, I have no worldly material in my head to conversate with people. And what happened, I couldn't even imagine that allowance of I don't know, which wasn't an orchestrated answer, it was authentic. And it had a little bit of fear in it, going like, this guy just like is not going to be interested in talking to a wall that doesn't answer back. And he said something later where it was like, you know, Meg, it was really cool. It had nothing to do with the headlines, but it did. And he said something like, I've noticed you can get along with anybody, like, you know, whether they're a little famous over here or like the poor, and he said it in that kind of way. And I just said, thank you, God, for our fellowship. Like, it was just one of those private, secret moments where I didn't people please somebody by giving them the head answer that they wanted. And then God provided them with something that was a little more spiritual in that moment. And, you know, I get gratitude in the strangest whiff these days. And a lot of it comes from clarity after a disturbance, believe it or not. And, you know, just like Mary Reed, I have like, you know, I could do a whole week on everything is a miracle, you know, like everything is a miracle. And I'm trying not to make that special. So I'm in that part of awakening also, where it's just this ordinary thing that God's going to provide. And I'll just be floored and amazed through it all. So thanks, God, for that sharing. Really needed to hear it. I needed to hear what I had to say for the purpose of awakening through this unique inner guidance that we all have through our array of poker cards. And thank you so much, Audrey, for just being there and providing that reading for us today. Thanks, Regina, for pioneering this. And just remember, this whole organization is supported by donations. So if you're called to donate, Sina will put a link in the chat. It's awakening-together.org/donate. And from here, we'll play our closing song. Alrighty, thanks for being with me and listening to the message today. In the last few minutes, you can share and contemplate before we end into fellowship. Hey, John.
Well, I don't know exactly when you got in touch with my brain and decided to do this specifically for me, but good job. Must have been when I was sleeping. I don't remember the conversation. That is what this is, I'm trying to find the words for it. So what I'm seeing is spent years and years and years and years just, you know, looking and going, oh, that's not it. Nope, I feel fear. That's not it. Nope, I don't, you know, this doesn't quite resonate. That's not it. I'm not trying hard enough. I'm not doing enough. And at some point, I just got to the point of just saying, I'm looking in the wrong places. I'm looking for what's in front of me. I'm looking for the experience that I'm having. And stop trying so damn hard. Just be open to it. Just be with it. It is here for you. It is literally right in front of you. Literally. And I would hear that and I would hang on to it for a little bit. And then it wouldn't be enough, or I would think it wouldn't be enough. So then it comes around again, and it comes around again, and it comes around again. And now I'm starting to go, oh, I've heard this term, you beautiful idiot. Well, if I can be a beautiful idiot, that's what I was being. It's just right there, and it's here for me. And it's here for every one of us. And I appreciate you putting the spotlight on that today, Meg. And thank you very much. That was wonderful.
Thanks, John. Rana?
Thank you so much, Meg. That was a beautiful message. There were a lot of takeaways for me too. I thought it was for me. Thank you, John, for making me remember I am not special. There are two thoughts. One is, give me the cheat sheet. And the other is allowing everything and just seeing how it unfolds in any now moment. You know, the teachings are all the truth that I'm hearing now. Is the solution is now. Just breathe, be present, and then proceed from there, from whatever guidance I'm willing to hear. But that willingness is such a key for me. And that's what I've been focusing on lately, is just pausing and being willing. And thank you for the pointer about the cheat sheet. I'm willing not to want the cheat sheet. I desire not to want the cheat sheet, to just allow. So thank you.
Beautiful. I love that. All right, we have 2 minutes left. We can either go off with the ending song and go into fellowship. What do you think? Is that good, Sina? Okay, sweet. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a beautiful Sunday. That was the best. I had a blast, and can't wait to see you in fellowship.
Been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.